Well, clinical psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson is one of the world's most famous and fascinating intellectuals. His books are instant bestsellers. Tens of millions watch him online. In fact, his last interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored has so far been viewed more than 17 million times. And I'm delighted to say that he joins me again now. Jordan, great to have you back on the programme.
Well, thanks, Piers. It's good to see you again.
I was absolutely astonished, really. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but by the reaction.
Are you serious?
To our last interview worldwide. The sheer volume of people that watched the whole interview, the way the clips were disseminated on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter. It was a really interesting insight, actually.
That doesn't make sense.
Into a whole world that doesn't even involve, actually, conventional television anymore. I guess you wouldn't be surprised because this happens to you a lot, but I was. What does it say about society?
Wait for it.
That number of people can watch an interview on a computer or phone.
Well, I'm still continually surprised about it. But, well, I think what it shows is that there's really no way that legacy TV, in some real sense, can compete with the absolutely wide open frontier of online video distribution where the cost is low and people can access it everywhere. It's fundamentally the consequence of a technological revolution, and there's all sorts of good things about that.
Are you serious?
And one of those would be the ability to widely disperse complex and sophisticated information, which YouTube has been particularly good at in the long form, but it's also problematic in that it produces all sorts of alterations in social behavior that we're only, and some of them very dangerous, many of which we're only just beginning to understand.
Right. Elon Musk has just bought Twitter, and it's creating a huge furore, obviously, in many different ways.
Stop it.
And he's admitted, I'm going to do lots of things in the next few months, and we're going to get some wrong, and we're going to pull them and try something else. He's going to try and work out a way of making it a sustainable business model. But also, he wants to bring back what he perceives to be genuine free speech on the platform. Is it possible, Jordan, do you think, that he can do that? Or are we now so entrenched in tribalism, particularly on social media, that it's almost impossible to do what he wants to do?
Well, you couldn't have picked a better day to talk about this with me because I just got a paper sent to me today by Jonathan Haidt. He didn't write the paper. It will be published. It's published in a journal called Personality and Individual Differences.
Nice.
And it's an examination of the personality traits associated with, let's say, excessive and self-promoting internet usage. And if you don't mind, I'd like to read you a couple of the descriptions of what the people found.
Are you serious?
Because it's so absolutely spot on and relevant. I don't think we are descending into tribalism. I think what's happening is that the virtualization of the world is enabling people who behave in a particular antisocial way, in a self-grandizing and self-promoting antisocial way. And I'll just read you the descriptions that are taken directly from this paper. So it was an actual study of online behavior. Women characterized by high self-centered antagonism, neurotic narcissism, Machiavellian views, Machiavellian tactics, so that's manipulativeness, meanness,
Stop it.
disinhibition, physical sadism, and indirect sadism used Instagram for a longer time and more frequently than did men. In women, verbal sadism and emotionality was associated with longer, while honesty, humility, and conscientiousness was with a shorter Facebook usage time. Furthermore, women high in agentic extroversion, so that's manipulative self-promotion, and indirect sadism used Facebook for a longer time.
Are you serious?
And more frequently than men. And so I've thought for a while that one of the things that's happening to us as we virtualize the world is that we're enabling the small percentage of people, it's usually about 3% in general populations, who use manipulation and reputation savaging and denigration and self-promotion, so the genuinely psychopathic types, to dominate the social conversation and to spew their poisonous and manipulative venom into the public domain not only with no fear of being stopped and no inhibition, which is almost all applied socially, but also while being monetized and promoted by the people who run the social media channels.
Are you serious?
And every society forever has had to contend with a small percentage of people who will utilize all the benefits of society only for themselves. They had to contend with the fact that those people, if not brought under control, can demolish the structure of the entire society. And I think the polarization that we're feeling is a consequence of their untrammeled expression online, Instagram, Facebook, and in online comment forums like Twitter.
Happened.
Okay.
So why now is the silence around Kate so loud? Because the palace have decided...
There's no silence around Kate.
Yes, there is. The palace have decided...
She had a
the
serious
news are not allowed to
abdominal
talk about
surgery.
Kate, whereas when Meghan was being
hang on.
attacked constantly,
What's this?
nobody stood up for Meghan.
What
The
is
palace
it?
didn't release a statement at all. They said nothing, and Meghan continued to be attacked in the press. So I would argue that she wasn't playing a victim. She was a victim.
Why was she and Harry attacked in the press?
Well, that's a great question. I would argue that it was racism, but I can't.
Well, hang on.
I can only see it through my lens.
Hang on. They weren't attacked until after they got married. Right? And I know this because I was writing columns about them, praising them.
Well, so why did you change your tune? What made you decide?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I changed my tune like the rest of the British press when after they got married, they started behaving in a weirdly, rankly hypocritical manner. They would preach about carbon footprint and climate change. Then we'd see them getting on Elton John's private plane.
Okay, but Piers, that's stupid.
Let me finish my point.
You got me.
We
don't get to finish our point.
You do. They literally tweeted about the need to take poverty seriously on their Twitter.
But they have a security
on the day
issue.
she had a $500,000 baby shower in New York,
Piers,
and then flew back on the Clooney private jet. In other words,
okay, King Charles always goes on about climate change.
Fine.
Camilla's getting a private jet on holiday.
That doesn't make sense.
They all get criticised.
We can all talk about
They
hypocrites.
all get criticised. You don't think Charles and Camilla have been criticised?
No, come on, Piers. You have to accept
please.
The two most criticised people in royal history were Charles and Camilla.
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
That is
You're not old enough to remember. You are.
I
right?
Do not
And
patronise
it
me.
wasn't.
I remember our
And it
Queen,
wasn't
Princess
racially
Diana,
motivated.
and the crimes committed against her.
Well, how old were you when Diana died?
It was 96, so I would have been just over 10, like 10.
Right. 10. So you weren't old enough to know what was going down,
But
right?
it was different.
I knew Diana, and I knew what went down. No one's been more vilified than Camilla in royal history. The idea that Meghan Markle got anything like the treatment that Camilla got
but Piers,
is for the birds.
No, Piers, but I want to go to this whole fascination with them. Even when you were writing positive things, that was still about race. Fact. That was nonsense anyway. The idea that she'd come in and change the family. And when she came in and said very clearly, I want to be the face of the Commonwealth. I want to do this work, which I would have hated. In fact, I'm so happy it went badly because that would have been the very worst thing. She clearly tried and said, look, I want to be part of this family. I want to do this. And every little thing was drip, drip, drip. And this is the experience that black people have.
How do you explain